In Chloe's world, every like was a heartbeat, a dizzying pulse of digital fame. She danced across TikTok, a queen of fleeting trends, yet a gnawing emptiness echoed beneath the vibrant lights, a quiet fear of fading into oblivion. Miles away, in Grandma Elsie's quiet home, time flowed like a slow river, marked by the scent of old herbs and the comforting tick of a grandfather clock. Elsie moved through life with the wisdom of the earth, but a deep solitude clung to her like morning mist. Two souls, living in their own separate universes, were about to be forced together, not by choice, but by a mother's desperate hope. One longed for a signal, the other for a voice, but neither knew how to bridge the chasm of their different worlds, or heal the unspoken ache that lived within each of them. What happens when the digital world clashes with deep-rooted tradition? Dive into Grandma's digital dilemma and discover the true meaning of connection. Chloe, barely 18, lived in the blue glow of her phone. Her room was a dizzying kaleidoscope of pulsing LED lights and the endless beat of TikTok. Every surface was cluttered with makeup and camera gear, a monument to her online persona. She scrolled, tapped, and smiled for the camera, a dazzling queen in her virtual realm. But the moment the live stream ended, the smile vanished. A heavy sigh escaped her lips as she tossed her phone aside, the relentless ding-ding-ding of notifications a maddening hum in her head. Content, where am I supposed to find it? She muttered, her voice raw with fatigue. I'm totally tapped out. My fans are gonna call me boring, I know it. The fear of fading into obscurity, of flopping, was a cold, constricting knot in her chest. Her digital paradise was fast becoming her gilded cage. Far from Chloe's frantic world, Grandma Elsie's house was a haven of stillness. Nestled in a riot of green garden, it breathed the scent of damp earth and blooming jasmine. Sunlight, warm and gentle, kissed the mossy roof tiles. Inside, a grandfather clock chimed slowly, marking time with a patient, unhurried grace. Elsie, in her 70s, sat on her wicker chair, her gnarled hands carefully tending a potted orchid. Her face, a roadmap of wrinkles, held a lifetime of stories. She was a guardian of old ways, where life moved with the sun and seasons. Yet in the quiet expanse of her home, a subtle loneliness always lingered, like a faint echo in a beautiful, empty room. Chloe, I've thought this through carefully, Anna, Chloe's mother said, her voice firm but kind. You're going to stay with Grandma Elsie for a while. Chloe's phone clattered to the floor. What? She shrieked, eyes wide with disbelief. Stay with Grandma. Are you kidding? There's no signal there. No Wi-Fi, no 4G, how am I supposed to live? What about my content? My fans? You're glued to that phone, Chloe, Anna sighed, her patience wearing thin. You barely eat, you can't sleep. You need a break, some fresh air. Grandma Elsie is lonely too. My decision is final, you're leaving tomorrow. The taxi bounced along the winding country road, shedding cell tower signals with every mile. Inside, Chloe glared at her phone, frantically shaking it. No service mocked her from the screen. The lifeline to her digital universe was severed. This godforsaken place, she muttered, defeated. The taxi pulled up to Grandma Elsie's house. Chloe stepped out, staring at the old home. It wasn't an oasis to her, but a heavy, invisible wall suffocating her. The quiet, the earthy scents, they pressed in, making her feel trapped. Grandma Elsie emerged, a gentle smile on her face. You're finally here, my dear granddaughter. Chloe offered only a curt nod, her eyes still desperately scanning for a miracle signal. The collision had begun. The initial days at Grandma Elsie's house were torture for Chloe. Without her digital lifeline, she drifted like a ghost, aimless and hollow. Her phone, now just a useless brick, lay ignored. She'd sprawl on the sofa, staring at the ceiling, sometimes wandering into the garden, utterly lost. The thirst for new content, for the rush of likes, gnawed at her, a burning ache like a desert longing for rain. One afternoon, Chloe sat slumped on the floor, clutching her inert phone. She scrolled through old photos, past videos of her glamorous, vibrant online life. A deep, heavy wave of despair washed over her. This is it, she mumbled, her voice barely a whisper. I'm going to die here. My fans will totally forget about me. Then, a movement caught her eye. Grandma Elsie was carefully, meticulously trimming withered leaves from a bonsai tree. She wore her reading glasses, her gnarled hands surprisingly nimble, her eyes intensely focused. Every movement was slow, deliberate, peaceful, a stark contrast to the frantic pace Chloe knew. Chloe squinted, watching. And then, a spark. A sudden, electrifying idea. It hit her like a lightning bolt striking parched earth, setting a fire ablaze in her barren content landscape. Her eyes widened, a predatory gleam flickering within them. "That's it," Chloe exclaimed, a sudden burst of exhilaration in her voice. "Grandma Elsie, how could I not see it?" Her face lit up, the weariness gone, replaced by a calculating excitement. She quickly switched her phone to video mode, carefully framing the shot. Her eyes sparkled with mischievous cunning, but also a chilling indifference. In her mind, Grandma Elsie wasn't just her grandmother. She was a goldmine, a potential content creator. The desperate craving for fame, the superficial allure of online validation, had blurred her vision. In the days that followed, Chloe became a silent hunter. She moved with a stealthy grace, trailing Grandma Elsie through every corner of the house and garden. She'd crouch behind a doorway, filming Elsie methodically laying out bundles of dried herbs on the patio, carefully smoothing each leaf as if caressing a child. She'd hide behind a bush, capturing Elsie meticulously picking through rice grains, occasionally murmuring to herself. Chloe would even prop her phone under her pillow, recording Elsie waking early, slowly stretching, and doing gentle morning exercises in the yard. Each clip Chloe filmed was expertly edited, a lively soundtrack added, quirky filters and funny effects applied, along with sarcastic captions. For instance, text might pop up on screen, "My grandma's into some serious drying game." When your grandma's living in 144p in a 4K world. OG Gym Junkie alert. Chloe had no idea that with every press of the record button, every witty caption, she was weaving a thin, almost invisible thread of fate. A thread that, though delicate, held the power to unravel and redefine the connection between two worlds and two souls. Back in the city, Chloe sat hunched over her laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard as she uploaded the videos of Grandma Elsie to TikTok. On her screen, the numbers exploded. Views, likes, comments, shares, a furious, joyful dance of digital validation. The ding-ding-ding of notifications became a constant, overwhelming chorus, a symphony of her newfound fame. Chloe's face glowed, her eyes sparkling with the reflection of her rising star. She reveled in this tidal wave of virtual fame. Every view was a brick, steadily building the grand castle of renown she'd always craved. She completely forgot why she'd gone to her grandma's in the first place, forgot the lines of age on Elsie's face she'd so casually filmed. Now, in her eyes, Grandma Elsie was just a star, a tool to achieve her goals. The comments poured in. "OMG, Grandma Elsie is the cutest thing ever. Chloe always has the most unique content. Can't wait for the Grandma series. This grandma is secretly a wild child. I'm dying laughing." Chloe chuckled, triumphant. She kept posting new videos, digging deeper into Elsie's private life, turning her grandmother into a public toy displayed across social media, completely disregarding Elsie's privacy or feelings. Her vision was blurred by the numbers, pushing her further down a path of exploitation. She didn't see that the gleaming facade of fame was slowly, steadily burning away the precious thread of family connection. Back at Grandma Elsie's house, life suddenly felt off-kilter. Neighbors and old friends started dropping by constantly, not for a casual chat, but to ask about those videos online. Mrs. Henderson, a well-meaning but gossipy neighbor, dropped by, phone in hand. "Elsie, you're quite the celebrity now, aren't you?" She chuckled, scrolling. "That Chloe girl of yours put you on the internet. I saw it last night, you looked so funny drying those herbs." Elsie managed a strained smile, her eyes betraying a hint of unease. Later, an old friend of Elsie's came for tea. "I heard your granddaughter put you on the internet." She asked, a frown creasing her brow. "Someone even said you were doing drugs. Is that true, Elsie?" Elsie's face hardened. The questions, the hushed giggles, the curious stares, they felt like tiny needles pricking at her dignity. She began to feel like a public exhibit, exposed for all to see, exploited and disrespected. Her privacy, once sacred, was being chipped away. Elsie's phone, usually quiet, now rang constantly. Calls from distant relatives and old acquaintances who had seen the videos. The serene rhythm of her life was gone. One quiet afternoon, Elsie sat alone in her garden, gently caressing a dried leaf. Her eyes were clouded with sadness. The bond with Chloe, which she thought had begun to mend, was now becoming a cold war of unspoken frustrations. Each time Chloe called, Elsie would try to hint at her discomfort. "My dear," Elsie said gently during one call with Chloe, a touch of hurt in her voice. "Are you so busy these days, always putting things on the internet? My friends keep teasing me so much." Chloe on the other end was dismissive, her voice rushed and oblivious. "Oh, Grandma, that's just a trend. Everyone loves it, you're a star. I'm super busy right now, gotta go." Chloe hung up with a sharp click. Elsie sighed. They were two fortified walls, each unable to hear the other, trapped in their own understanding. One evening, Anna called Chloe. Her voice was laced with worry. "Chloe, I think you're posting too many videos of Grandma. I've heard from some of the family, and it sounds like she's not really happy about it. Shouldn't you ask her permission first?" "Mom, seriously," Chloe snapped, her fingers still scrolling on her phone. "You're making a huge deal out of nothing. Who doesn't want to be famous? Grandma's probably thrilled, you just worry too much." Anna sighed, a sound of utter helplessness. "My dear, what if Grandma gets really upset later?" Chloe ended the call abruptly, annoyed. Her mother's and friends' warnings were faint cries lost in the roaring storm of her newfound fame. She was riding the crest of a digital wave, oblivious to the fact that she was hurtling towards the edge of a cliff, the precipice of a real, tangible relationship. The dazzling allure of celebrity had blinded her, making her reckless. She didn't realize that every like she gained was costing her a piece of something far more precious. Chloe's room buzzed with the energy of a live broadcast. Her face, radiant with confidence, beamed at the camera. Thousands of views and comments scrolled relentlessly across the screen. She was in her element, confidently answering fan questions, with a large monitor behind her looping clips of Grandma Elsie diligently tending her garden, drying herbs, and going about her daily life. "Okay, next question." Chloe chirped, her eyes dancing. User at @LovegranMailsey asks, "Does your Grandma Elsie have a boyfriend? Does she want to date? Oh, this is a fun one. Let me answer for Grandma." Chloe giggled, about to deliver a playful jab. "My Grandma, if she ever got a boyfriend, our whole family would be shocked. With her personality, I bet she'd be like." Suddenly, the door to Chloe's room burst open. Grandma Elsie stood framed in the doorway. Her face was set, rigid, her normally kind eyes blazing with a fury and profound disappointment that chilled the air. In her trembling hand, she clutched Chloe's old phone, displaying Chloe's live stream. She had heard everything. The room seemed to shrink, the air thick with unspoken accusation. The upbeat livestream music suddenly felt jarring, shrill. "Grandma, Grandma," Chloe stammered, her face draining of color, eyes wide with panic. How did you get here?" Elsie didn't reply. She walked purposefully towards Chloe, her gaze sharp as a knife. She slammed the phone down onto the desk with a harsh clack. You dared." Elsie's voice trembled, a raw, suppressed rage vibrating with every word, each one piercing Chloe's heart. "You dared to turn my life into a joke for strangers. What do you take me for? A toy? A tool for your fame and money?" Chloe stood frozen, speechless. The livestream continued, Elsie's furious, heartbroken face clearly visible to the online world. Comments flooded the screen, rapidly shifting from curious questions to outrage. Chloe's face was ashen, her eyes wide with terror as she stared at the screen. The critical comments erupted like a digital wildfire, instantly incinerating the castle of fame she had built. "OMG, this girl is so rude. Exploiting your grandma for views, disgusting, unfollowing immediately, so disappointed. Your phone. It's become a knife," Elsie choked out, tears streaming down her wrinkled cheeks, her voice breaking with agony. "It's cutting apart the love between us. do you know how much this hurts me? I thought you came here because you cared, but no. You only cared about your likes, your views." Elsie's hand shot out, pointing firmly at the door. "Get out of my house," Elsie declared, each word deliberate, cold, and absolute. "Right now. You are no grandchild of mine anymore." Elsie's pronouncement hung in the air like a cold blade, severing the last thread connecting them. Chloe stood paralyzed. The hot phone in her hand now felt like a heavy stone, dragging her down into a chasm of regret. Their relationship shattered like a mirror, each shard a fresh wound. Tears welled in Chloe's eyes. She wanted to speak, to explain, but her throat constricted, unable to utter a sound. Chloe returned to her city apartment. The room looked exactly as she'd left it, but now, it wasn't the vibrant digital cosmos she remembered. It felt like a barren, desolate desert, cold and empty. The blue light from her phone and laptop still flickered, but they no longer offered glamour or connection. Only harsh, biting criticisms and the cold finality of unfollows stared back at her. Her phone screen became a relentless ticker of negative comments, headlines screaming about the hot TikToker disowned by her grandma. Sponsorship deals and collaborations, once a steady stream, dried up instantly, canceled with curt emails. "It's over," Chloe whispered, huddled on the floor, her eyes vacant. "It's all gone." The wave of online backlash felt like an endless sandstorm, whipping away her fame and her future. She felt hollow, adrift, like a boat lost at sea without a compass. The ding-ding-ding of notifications still rang out, but now, each chime was a sharp needle piercing her heart. Chloe picked up her phone again, not to find new content, but to scroll through the old videos of Grandma Elsie. She no longer saw them through the lens of a content creator, but through the aching heart of a guilty granddaughter. She saw Elsie meticulously tending her flowers, heard her grandmother's soft murmurs as she recounted old folktales. She remembered Elsie's gentle smile when Chloe had unexpectedly offered to help in the garden. She saw the warmth in Elsie's eyes as she prepared meals. Those simple, precious moments of warmth and love, which she'd traded for fleeting likes, now burned bright in her memory. Tears streamed down Chloe's face. She finally understood the immeasurable loss she had inflicted upon herself. Back at Grandma Elsie's house, a heavy silence settled. The house felt strangely empty, the quiet oppressive. The birds still sang in the garden, but their cheerful chirps were no longer met by the sounds of laughter or chatter. Elsie sat quietly on her wicker chair, her hands still tending the orchids, but her gaze was distant, lost in thought. She looked at the empty space in front of her, where Chloe used to sit, absorbed in her phone. She missed Chloe. She missed even the little annoyances Chloe brought, the blaring music, the loud video calls, even the naive questions about the digital world. She missed the youthful energy, the light Chloe had brought into her quiet home. "Maybe I was too harsh," Elsie whispered to herself, her voice barely audible, filled with regret. The child is still young after all. A profound loneliness gnawed at her, a quiet worm burrowing into her heart. She gently touched an old photo frame. Inside it a picture of a tiny Chloe, beaming mischievously next to her. Her eyes grew sad. Elsie wondered if her strictness had been too much, if this fragile thread of love could ever be mended. A soft, golden light filtered through the afternoon sky, painting Grandma Elsie's roof tiles with a gentle glow. The air in the garden was still, broken only by the faint whisper of wind through the leaves. Grandma Elsie sat on her porch, her gaze distant, a quiet sorrow etched on her face. Then, a hesitant knock echoed from the front gate, a sound as soft as a sigh, yet it was the first flicker of hope in the silent house. Elsie startled, her eyes turning towards the entrance. Chloe stood there. Gone was the flashy, trendy attire. She wore simple clothes, her hair pulled back in a loose bun. In her hands, she clutched a bouquet of vibrant red roses, still dewy, clearly freshly picked. Her face was a mask of remorse, her eyes swollen and red-rimmed from crying. Elsie looked at Chloe, her expression complex surprise, a touch of lingering hurt but deep down an undeniable longing. "Grandma, I'm so sorry," Chloe stammered, her voice thick with emotion, trembling on the edge of tears. She stepped closer, then knelt before Elsie, placing the roses gently by her feet. Her own tears streamed down her face. "I'm so sorry for hurting you," Chloe continued, her voice punctuated by soft sobs. "I was wrong. I was thoughtless. I used you. I chased after those meaningless things online and lost the most precious thing I had." Elsie watched Chloe, tears beginning to trace paths down her own wrinkled cheeks. Her hand trembled as she reached out, gently touching Chloe's hair. Elsie's gaze softened, the coldness melting away, replaced by a boundless wave of forgiveness and love. Chloe's heartfelt apology, like a tear dissolving the ice in Elsie's heart, opened the door to reconciliation. "Get up, you silly girl," Elsie said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "Get up, my child." She pulled Chloe to her feet, embracing her granddaughter tightly. The fresh scent of roses mingled with the comforting smell of earth and sun on Elsie's clothes, offering a strange, profound solace. The two of them held each other, as if trying to mend the cracks in their hearts through the sheer force of their embrace. The warm afternoon light streamed through the kitchen window, illuminating Grandma Elsie's humble cooking space. The rhythmic clack-clack of a knife on a cutting board, the gentle gurgle of water, and the tantalizing aroma of baking bread filled the air. It wasn't just the sounds of meal preparation. It was a symphony of rebirth, of emotions finally being mended. Chloe fumbled with a mixing bowl, her hands covered in flour. Grandma Elsie stood beside her, gently guiding her. Elsie's hand took Chloe's, and together they kneaded the dough. "You have to knead it like this," Elsie explained patiently, her voice warm, firm but gentle. "That's how the dough gets smooth and the bread turns out perfect." "It's so hard, Grandma," Chloe admitted, her face focused, completely devoid of the hurried, distracted air of her former TikTok persona. "I'm so not used to this." Chloe wasn't obsessing over her phone anymore. The device lay forgotten on the counter, its screen dark. She was absorbed in learning Elsie's baking recipe, every gesture, every word from her grandmother imbued with a new sense of respect and gratitude. She didn't ask about likes or views, only about how to make the bread taste better, smell sweeter. Grandma Elsie smiled, a radiant, sunny smile. She wasn't just passing on a recipe. She was imparting the essence of patience, of love, of the traditional values she had cherished for so many years. At dinner, the table held simple, comforting dishes, crowned by the freshly baked bread made by both of them. Chloe and Elsie sat across from each other, no longer separated by distance or tension. They shared stories. Elsie recounted tales from her youth. Chloe spoke of her experiences, but now with a humility and newfound appreciation for life beyond the screen. Their relationship, like a tender sapling finally watered, began to sprout new leaves, promising growth and renewal. Later, in a sun-dappled park, Chloe and Elsie knelt together, carefully planting a small sapling. Their hands, young and old, worked in unison, gently patting the soil around the delicate roots. The act was symbolic, a quiet promise of growth and nurturing. As they tended the tree, Chloe held her phone, but not to record. Instead, she was on a video call with her mother, Anna, sharing their simple, joyful moment. "Mom, look," Chloe exclaimed, holding the phone so Anna could see the tiny tree and Elsie. "Grandma and I just planted this. And she taught me how to make the most amazing apple pie." Anna's face on the screen was filled with relief and warmth. "Oh, Chloe, that's wonderful. I'm so happy to see you two together." Elsie, no longer shying away from the camera, offered a gentle smile and a wave to Anna. The digital device, once a source of pain, was now a bridge of love. Chloe hadn't abandoned her digital world entirely, but she had discovered a deeper, more authentic source of inspiration, the richness of real life and the warmth of family love. Elsie, in turn, had not completely shunned technology. Instead, she had embraced it as a tool to connect, to share, to build bridges across generations. As the sun began to set, casting long, golden shadows, the two generations looked towards the horizon. It was a shared future where tradition and modernity weren't enemies, but intertwined, nurtured by the enduring threads of understanding, respect, and unconditional love. The quiet hum of the digital world now harmonized with the gentle rustle of leaves, a peaceful melody of two worlds finally finding their rhythm together. In a world spinning at lightning speed, where every like feels like validation and every screen is a gateway to fleeting fame, it's easy to lose our way. We chase after the dazzling, the ephemeral, often forgetting the true gems waiting right in front of us. Chloe and Elsie's story isn't just about bridging a generational gap. It's a poignant reminder of life's real currency. It's the comforting scent of a fresh-baked pie, the laughter lines around a grandparent's eyes, the gentle touch of hands working together in a garden. These are the priceless moments that no algorithm can quantify, no trending hashtag can capture. Technology can be a bridge, but love and understanding are the foundation. Let's not let the artificial glow of screens overshadow the genuine beauty of simple, authentic connections. Let's ensure our lives aren't just perfectly edited series, but rich tapestries woven with raw, honest, and truly felt scenes. Each of us has an Elsie in our lives, a grandparent, a parent, a mentor, anyone who embodies enduring values and wisdom. And within each of us, there's a bit of Chloe, a yearning to be seen, to connect, but sometimes choosing the flashy, fleeting path. Take a moment to truly listen, to truly see each other, because sometimes the most profound likes aren't clicked on a screen, but written in shared presence, deep understanding, and from the depths of our own hearts. What resonated with you in this story? Take a moment today to pick up the phone to connect. A brief call can brighten someone's entire day. Share a meal, screen-free, turn off distractions, and really listen to each other's stories. Learn from older generations. Discover the invaluable wisdom and experiences they carry. Engage with what's real. Turn off the screen and truly experience the world around you. Because sometimes, the most valuable connections aren't found where the Wi-Fi signal is strongest, but in the warmth of our hearts and the embrace of those we love.